Hi, this video presents the relationship between the stakeholders mapping and the objectives tree of our project, which focus on improving multilingual communications for foreign patients in a hospital in Bogota. The central problem identified is the absence of a standardized multilingual communication protocol, which creates a gap between international patients' needs and exciting multilingual safety procedures. To address this issue, we developed an objectives tree and a stakeholder mapping. The purpose of this analysis is to understand how much stakeholders influence the project and how they are connected to specific objectives, allowing a more effective and structured implementation of solutions.
The stakeholder mapping is based on the power interest matrix. This tool classifies stakeholders according to two variables: their level of power, meaning their ability to influence decisions, and their level of interest, meaning their involvement in the project or its outcomes. This creates four categories: manage closely, high power and high interest; keep satisfied, high power but low interest; keep informed, low power but high interest; monitor, low power and low interest. This classification is essential because it helps define how much stakeholders should be managed and how they contribute to achieving the project objectives.
Directors are located in the managed closely quadrant because they have both high power and high interest. Their high power comes from their authority to make strategic and operational decisions within the hospital. Their high interest is due their direct responsibility for institutional performance, patient safety, and compliance. The relation between the objectives is objective 1, they approve hiring policies and training programs. Objective 2, they define protocols such as TISHBAC. Objective 3, they design and implement institutional policies. Directors are key actors because they connect all objectives and ensure their implementation. Without them, no structural change is possible.
Investors keep satisfied. Investors are placed in the keep satisfied quadrant because they have high power but low operational interest. Their power is financial as they provide the resources necessary for implementing communication improvements. However, their interest is limited because they are not involved in daily hospital operations or patient interaction. Relation with objectives. Objective 3. Establish a multilingual communication policy. They finance the implementation of certified interpreters, translation technologies, and international patient services. Why keep satisfied? Because even though they are not directly involved, their decisions can enable or block the project. Therefore, it is necessary to keep them satisfied with results, efficiency, and institutional performance. Conclusion. Investors are essential for resource allocation, making them critical for long-term sustainability of the project.
Doctors, keep informed. Doctors are located in the keep informed quadrant because they have high interest but relative low power in institutional decision making. Their high interest comes from their direct interaction with patients and responsibility for the treatment outcomes. However, they have limited power to change organizational policies. Relation with the objective. Objective 2. Improve communication. They must apply clear explanation and teach back method. Objective 4. Reduce misunderstandings. They ensure correct transmission of medical instruction. Why keeping informed? Because they need continuous information, training, and feedback to perform their role effectively, even though they do not control the system. Conclusion. Doctors are essential for execution as they directly influence patient understanding and safety.
Nurses are also in the keep informed quadrant. They have high interest due to their constant interaction with patients, especially during treatment and discharge process. However, like doctors, they have limited decision-making power at the institutional level. The relation between objectives is objective 2. They reinforce medical instruction. They act as a bridge between medical instructions and patient understanding. Nurses play a critical role in ensuring communication continuity and patient safety.
Receptionists are positioned in "keep informed" because they have high interaction with foreign patients with limited power. Objective 1: Student language support. They require multilingual tools and skills. Objective 2: Improve communication. They manage initial patient information and orientation. Importance: They are the first point of contact, meaning communication failures can start at this level. Conclusions: Receptionists are crucial for first impressions and initial understanding.
Ministry of Health Monitor. The Ministry of Health is placed in the monitor quadrant because in this specific project it has regulatory power but no law direct involvement in daily operations. However, its interest is not contents unless compliance issues arise. Relation with objectives. Objective 3. Establish a multilingual communication policy. It ensures legal compliance and standards. Why monitor? Because it does not participate actively in implementation but must be considered to avoid legal risks. Conclusion. It represents a compliance factor rather than an operational actor.
Foreign patients monitored. Foreign patients are located in the monitor quadrant because they have low power and individually limited influence over institutional decisions. Their interest is high at a personal level, but not at an organizational level. Relation with the objectives. All objectives. They are the main beneficiaries of language support, communication improvements, policy implementations, reduction of misunderstandings. Importance. Even though they have low power, they represent the central focus of the project. Conclusion. They are passive stakeholders but critical for evaluating the success of the intervention.
This analysis demonstrates that the success of the project depends on aligning stakeholders with specific objectives. High-power actors such as directors and investors enable implementations, while high-interest actors such as doctors and nurses ensure executions. At the same time, monitoring external stakeholders like the Ministry of Health guarantees compliance and focuses on foreign patients ensures that the project fulfills its primary goal, improving patient safety. Therefore, stakeholder mapping is not only a classification tool but a strategic framework for reducing communication failures and enhancing organizational effectiveness.